topics and break down the drama.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Man, look at this. Look at this. Actively black. Says it right here on the sleeve, too. Actively black. Man, what are you mad about now? I'm familiar with Actively Black. It's a black-owned sports brand, activewear, started by Lanny Smith. Yeah, but this shit don't piss you off? Why would it piss me off? What if we had actively white gear? We've had it. Man, what? Look, never mind. What's the point of your little tirade here? My point is I'm so sick and tired of black, black, black. This is Black History Month. Why don't we have a White History Month? I agree with you. Wait, what? I agree. Let's have a White History Month. In fact, let's start right now. Okay. We'll call it the overview. All right. Okay, in order to talk about white history, we need to go back to where the white race began, 1676. You see, prior to this, white had been used as a descriptor of people, but never had been an official race. But after we colonized America and stole land from the indigenous people, the Europeans here had a problem. The poor people kept having rebellions against the rich people. So what they decided was to create the white race. This was a way to convince people that you were part of something bigger than yourself and that the rich people weren't your enemy, but those other people were. Now, who was allowed to be white? That changed over the years. You see, for the next century and a half, chattel slavery was based primarily around race, and it started from the transatlantic slave trade, and throughout the 17th and 18th century, even into the 19th century, certain people that came over that we identify as white now were not identified as white then. For example, the Italians or the Irish initially were not considered white, but because white is a completely made-up race, they later decided Italian and Irish people are white. This idea is called white supremacy, where we create this mythology of a race that's superior than other races. Like, hey, poor white man, you might not be rich, but at least you're not an enslaved black man. In 1860, the idea of abolishing slavery was becoming more popular, and white people didn't like that. Abraham Lincoln, who was an abolitionist himself, became president, and the southern states here in America seceded from the Union. You've heard the story. It's called the Civil War. Now, after the Civil War ended in 1865, white people didn't just give up their white supremacy. No, they then began a series of things called Jim Crow laws. These laws were intended to target black people. Black people were found to be criminals for anything, and they held public lynchings during the Jim Crow period. That continued until 1954, when the Supreme Court ruled in Brown versus Board of Education desegregated schooling. Of course, white people were not happy about that. There's lots of videos and photographs of it. And then in 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed, which was supposed to provide equality across the races. Of course, white people were pissed about that. Now wait a goddamn minute. You're only talking about the bad things that white people did. What about the good things? Now slow down there, Cletus. I haven't talked about all the bad things yet. This is just the overview. We haven't even got the gentrification, redlining, legacy admissions, the war on drugs, the FBI infiltration of black liberation movements. The white race has a very long history of oppressing and marginalizing black and brown.
Okay, there I go. With this being the last Saturday for Black History Month, I wanted to make sure that we keeping on and really talking about our history. So just about history as it is, and it's not just black history, but it's also history. With that being said, I'm going to turn to the gentleman, and I'm going to ask you guys, what did you get out of that? Do you have anything to add to the tea in the streets? Anybody want some? Y'all can't take it? Who gonna take it? Okay, don't be nervous. Come on, Kara. You got it now?
Look at y'all trailblazers in history makers.
Absolutely. One that was kind of funny. And how everything that not everything, but a lot of things that blacks do seem to be marginalized to a degree. And just the audacity of having a White History Month, and some people thinking that that's just a thing that should be when everything has been white history to a degree. So, to celebrate our race, the black culture, isn't to put down any other race.
Exactly.
That is my biggest thing. It's like when we had the peak of Black Lives Matter, it's like, hey, okay, yes, Black Lives Matter. That's not to say that other lives don't, but nobody else is standing up for our lives that do matter, so we have to do it. So that's not to put down anybody else, but it is to uplift us and make sure that we are being heard, that we're not being marginalized, and that what we're saying is very much so heard and important and out there.
I'm so glad you said it, because it's never about putting someone else down just to toot your own horn or to come together. And for me, when I saw that clip, and the reason I asked them to put it up, I thought two things. Valerie, you can put it up and they can say, well, why is she always on this? Because if you don't talk about the history, you'll be tricked up on what other people want you to do. So what can I give? What can I put out there that can also inspire and let the others, the young ones, my granddaughter, my teen, whether you are black, brown, or purple, whoever's working with us, learn something different about someone that you don't know.
Exactly.
So, will you have anything?
No, I agree with both what you guys have said. And Carter G. Woodson in 1926 was really the founder of Black History Week, and from that we celebrate now Black History Month. It is that passion to celebrate the greatness that we as a people have always had, and it's from the nation's founding, and even before. And I think our voices. What would America be without our Negro people?
Come on now.
What would the world be without black people? And I think that message has to be heard. And I think much of what we see, and even in the clip here, it's been the whitewashing. It's been the failure to acknowledge the truth.
Yes.
The truth is important. Not truth as it's relevant to your particular ideology, but truth as if we can't look at something objectively and call it what it is. I'm here in a gray coat. If all of us disagree that I have a gray coat on, then we've got a problem.
Right.
And so that's my point. I believe that there has to be a space for objectivity, and we've got to be able to objectively call something what it is. And unfortunately, in this country, and I would say in the world, we've allowed this relevance and this rewriting and whitewashing of the objectivity, the objective facts. It's gotten much too.
I'll just say it's toxic.
It's toxic.
There
It
you
is.
go. And
It's true.
so true, Brother Carter.
The audacity
Okay.
of some people trying to make it as though we are black people being racist because we want to uplift ourselves. We are people that have been oppressed for hundreds of years. And everything that we do concerning ourselves, which is opposite from the whites only people, is that, like you were saying, Alan, we don't use our platform to put anyone else down. Our platform is basically used to just uplift ourselves,
Others.
and so and others around us. It's never to that we are more than you are. We just trying to pull ourselves up from the ground up, and so that's the audacity of white people to say that we may be being racist is just kind of insane to me. So.
I think of any people because this is the one thing I want to make sure that we don't just stick with, because ignorance, that's what racism and all of this is ignorance. Ignorance has no color. And so I want to make sure that the message that's going out here from these mics is that we're speaking of anyone that dare to be ignorant and only see something based off of their small view or their experience. Continue to tune into the Love and Victory Show, and we're going to all grow together.
That's it.
So
now,
that is...
Now, the reason I say white people, because this is the segment that we had up here. This is what was put up in the platform. The guy said, why can't we have white? And that's why I use white people.
Oh, I know that. No, I wasn't knocking that at
Yeah.
all. But I wanted to make sure.
I just need to explain myself sometime, because I said some stuff the other night. I wish I would have expressed a little more what I was talking about.
Yeah, I
versus
know.
just leaving it on the
out.
table.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Well, we're going to...